All right. What if your AI cold caller could not only talk like a human, but also learn from every call it makes? Today, guest build exactly that. Meet the guy who merged old school IT grit with cutting edge AI tech. Welcome back to the Piyush Pawar Show. Today, we are driving into the crossroads of IT infrastructure and artificial intelligence with someone who's been in the tech for over 2 decades. From managing massive network environments to building AI-powered calling system that run entire outreach campaigns. He's done it all. Joining us from the Colony, Texas is Jason Rodgers, a system administrator, IT consultant, and now AI engineer at Evolve Technical Solution. Whether it's firewalls or a full stack AI integration, this guy toolbox is massive. Jason, welcome to the show. Super excited to have you on.
Yeah, thanks. Happy to be here. Yeah, looking forward to it.
All right, Jason. Before we dive into a heavy tech talk, let's light things up a bit. The Colony, Texas, what life like there is? I imagine it's pretty peaceful, but I have to ask, are you on those people with the 10 monitors or a RGB light and cables everywhere in your home or office? Or do you keep as it more Zen?
I'm actually on a 65-inch monitor right here. It's an actual 144 hertz monitor. Has G-Sync. It's incredible. It's like a $5,000 monitor. It's awesome. And then I have another TV above it. So I use these two, and then I have a laptop over there, and then I got my phone. But between these two, it's usually I can do everything I need to do. And I have my computer centralized in the house, and I have it ran to multiple rooms, so I can go to any room in my house and turn on a screen and have access to my computer. So it's pretty sick.
All right, cool.
Going back to your other question on life and colony, it's really nice down here in Texas. We're a suburb of Dallas, and it's incredible. We really like the people, and pretty much everything else. The only thing I don't like is the heat. It's really hot, and other than that, it's been good.
All right, cool, man. So let's rewind a bit. How did you get your first job? How do you get into IT? Was this always the plan, or did you find yourself in the tech world by accident?
My very first exposure to technology, I think, was like an Atari 2700 or a ColecoVision. No, I think it was ColecoVision. My dad ended up getting one, and then years later, my grandma got a computer, and that's when I got exposed to computers, and then like my brain just like went crazy. And I built my first one. I think I was 10, maybe 8. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. That was back when they were hard to build. These Today it's super easy. But I didn't actually start doing it professionally for many years, until I was like late 20s, even early. Like, yeah, because I don't know why it never dawned on me to do something that I'm really good at. Like, it was just I was working dead end jobs. Like, I was doing a lot of partying. That's probably why. But I ended up switching over to getting a degree, and then going down that path and whatnot. And yeah, just been going ever since. Really, that's kind of how I've just always been good at it, and I enjoy it.
All right, cool. So everyone that has that, wow, I might actually be a good at this moment. What was yours?
So I had one of my right after I formed this company, which is Involve Technical Solutions. After I formed it about 8 years ago or so, I did it in July, and then in that December, I got a very big client in Colorado where I used to live, and they were a driving school, and they had 13 locations all across the Denver area, Denver and the suburb area, give or take 60 miles or so. And that was like kind of our first really that was the company that legitimized us, I would say, because we only created the company not even a year later, and then we had this massive client, and then I mean, they were bringing in $7,000 a month just from the initial contract, and it was awesome. So that was my kind of specific breakthrough, at least with the company, because then it was like, yeah, okay, cool, I can do this, I can make this work, and then here it is 8 years later or so, and we're in Texas now, and yeah, we've just been expanding, and yeah, it's great. I don't have anything specifically for a breakthrough on like a project with the AI, but it was mainly more of just like the realization of, hey, I can do this, as a company and go to market, I guess.
All right. So, like, was there any kind of specific breakthrough on a or a project that you made, or a realize, yeah, I've got this.
Well, I mean, like I said, that like I already mentioned, that was kind of like the case study of, can I deploy this technology? Can I support this company's infrastructure? Can I do all of their IT needs as we're
All right.
a third party? So that was the breakthrough. Really, it was the whole thing, not just one singular thing.
All right. So you have been in the IT field for over 2 decades, means it's like over 20 years, which is incredible,
Mm-hmm.
man. Over those years, we have seen the shift from traditional IT system to AI-driven technologies. Was that a transition, something you consequently pursued, or did it feel like the natural next step to in your career?
I mean, it's really I've actively and consciously pursued it, I would say, and yeah, I mean, it's just kind of the way that it's going, really. AI has been around for quite a long time. It just hasn't been switched, it hasn't been brought into public and through like a chatbot form. They've been doing machine learning for freaking ever, and then this is just the natural evolution, really, from there.
All right. So, like, let's move forward about your experience and challenges. Like managing a large-scale system and networks can be a monumental task. So, what would you say was the toughest IT challenge you faced in your career, and how did you navigate it?
I would say the most challenging, honestly, was probably the AI calling system that I built, just because I didn't anticipate so many variables, is the best way I could describe it. And what was really kind of annoying with it is we had to keep changing and adapting, and then like those changes could redo everything. It's just a colossal amount of work. Um, but just I'd say that was probably it, and then we can get more into that later, down the line. We can talk into more of the details.
Okay, all right. So, when we look, like, there are always those moments when things seem impossible. Can you think of a time when you were convinced or as a solution just wasn't working, wasn't going to work, but you pushed through anyway, and any against all that moments?
Yeah. So I was thinking. Let me think for a minute here. Um, yeah. Okay. One of our clients, that we had, and this is also back in Colorado. I just did. I mean, we haven't been in Texas that long, but anyways, back in Colorado, there was another. We did a lot of manufacturing companies. That was a kind of our primary thing, and one of the wood shop workers, manufacturing. They do cabinets and stuff. They had this really old legacy computer, and it had a really old thumb drive on it that was broken. And that thumb drive was their access to some of their fabrication machines. And so I was tasked with trying to clone that thing. And I think that was probably one of the like most annoying things, because it just kept ending in dead ends and dead ends and dead ends and dead ends. And then the company was out of business. So like you couldn't even go to the company to get support. And I tried everything possible I could think of. I spent weeks on it, and I did eventually get through and actually get it to work. But there was many times where I was like, I don't even think we can go forward like anymore. Like this is ridiculous. And then just like one small off chance little miracle thing would happen and be like, okay, maybe we can do it. But that was the thing that came to mind when you gave me that. I mean, it doesn't sound like a big thing, but it is when it shuts down an entire company. They can't
Right.
use it.
So,
So that's the thing that came to my mind.
all right. So you have worked with major companies like Intellis and Avant. So how do you approach problem solving when you're working with the big corporations compared to smaller startups? What's the biggest difference is how you tackle those challenges.
I mean, what's really cool about working and partnering with Intelisys and Avant and a bunch of those other companies that do that is they pretty much allow you to scale. So by having partners, in that space, you can scale your own company no matter what size you are, all the way up to enterprise level. So there's many other business owners in the IT space that I know of that are like one or two people, like him and his wife, or him and his friend, and then they just go and they leverage Intelisys and if they're in Chicago, Avant's really big, and you can just take what you essentially just turn it into a salesperson managing your company, and then you have all the infrastructure and everything done through your partners, and it's pretty cool. But at the same token, you can like I said, for my company, allows us to scale up to the enterprise level because I can offer more things that I wouldn't be able to normally offer myself. So that's the biggest difference, really. Having the power, unlimited potential, and the possibility to do things versus what you can do yourself is a big difference. It's like leveraging AI and not leveraging the AI, really, if you think of it that way, since we're on that topic.
All right, so now let's talk about the your groundbreaking work with AI-powered cold calling. So you have built a system that don't just talk like a human, but learns from each call. What inspired you to develop this, and was there any specific problem in the outreach or a sales process you wanted to solve?
Yeah, so I started seriously, I'd say, jumping into AI about 3 years ago or so. And my goal personally was to get it to train it on how to do cold calling because I hate cold calling. Like for my company, I absolutely hate it. I loathe it. It's like the bane of my existence. And so I was like, okay, I have this really awesome sales method from True Methods, like Gary, is it Gary? Yeah, I might say the wrong name. It's True Methods. I remember that's the name of the system, but it's incredible, and I really liked it. So it's like, okay, how can I take all this data, on the system of how we sell things, train an AI agent to call and go through this script, and then it's not really a script, but go do what it needs to do, go
Right,
through it, and then convert to sales because if you think about it, you're taking the emotion out of the equation, you're taking all the biases out of the equation, you're taking all that crap out of the equation, right? So it's just a really good distilled person, and it's not really a person, it's a robot, but
right.
it's very impressive. So that was the main driver for me, was to use it for my own company, and then I partnered with another guy who was wanting to build a system to sell to solar roofers and stuff. And so I was like, okay, so it just kind of made sense to partner up, and so that's what we did.
All right. So integrating tools like ChatGPT and Anthropic is not a small feat. Can you walk through us like the tech side of these things? How do these tools come together to create such a seamless and effective experience?
Sure. So have you heard of Go High Level, the
Yeah,
platform or the
right.
CRM? I
Yeah,
should
I
say
have.
more than a CRM. That thing's like a powerhouse. Yeah. So so before I got into doing this system, I was working heavily in CR or in Go High Level, kind of learning more the advanced side of that, how what I could push
Can
the
you
automations and all that stuff.
can you explain what is
What?
a go high level for the audience?
Oh yeah, sure. Go High Level is a primarily a CRM, which is a client relationship management. I believe there's so many acronyms. Essentially, it's a platform that you can go on, and it's like a one stop shop for everything you would ever need client facing, customer facing. So you like get you would import all your contacts in there. So, something like HubSpot, or there's a bunch of them, Salesforce. I'm blanking on names. There's literally just tons of them. But I found that the Go High Level one is just the best by far, and the most features you get by far. It's crazy. It's also the cheapest from what I've understood. But anyway, so I ended up using that as a front end. And what I mean by front end is like that's what the users are going to go on and log into. That's what they're going to be seeing on the graphical interface and the systems and whatever we want to build there. That's what the user is going to, that's the user experience. They go into there and you can brand the whole thing. It doesn't have to look like Go High Level. You can change everything. It's completely white labeled. But anyways, you go in there and you would get them to upload their contacts, their leads list essentially. And then what you would do is what we did on the back end is we had a series of automations that would make API calls out, and it would go to whatever one we needed it to do. So if we had a specific type of agent that worked better with one AI, we would route it to that AI. If it, so from my testing and experimentation, a lot of the AIs will handle the prompts differently. So you have to like really drill down and kind of see how they're going to respond, and then you can make a summary, for yourself. So then you'll know like, hey, what bucket to put these in and to route them to the right one. So the API would send all the data out, and then they would make the call. And then after the call was done, it would send a summary of the call back into Go High Level through an API. And then it would get that data, and then we would parse the data through ChatGPT inside of an automation of Go High Level. It would parse the data, dump it into the appropriate buckets, and then it would go through and update all the information on the contact field. So on the end user, all they're really seeing is they go in, they upload their contacts, and we either had it automated or you could start it yourself. And you would just start the process, and then you just walk away and you just come back and you'd get the results. And it would literally tell you like, this was the outcome of this call, and it'd give you a report, and you literally could see everything. And then it would mark things. It'd have different buckets for different stages of the sales process. So you could go in and be like, oh, okay, I need to reach out to these people, or okay, we need to reschedule this, or just whatever. You can
Yeah.
filter however you wanted it. But it was very impressive, or is impressive.
All right, cool. So we have all heard of AI in theory, but integrating into a real world systems like this is a tough job. So what were some of unexpected hurdles you faced when putting these systems together, and how do you overcome them?
Yeah. So going back to the voice project overall, the most challenging thing in this setup was all the different third party voice systems that we were APIing in, and their systems and their limitations. So that was the hardest and most challenging and honestly most frustrating part about the whole thing, because we had to go through like eight, I want to say. And every single time we had to change for whatever XYZ reason, we'd come onto a new obstacle that wasn't there previously. And it was like, oh my gosh. And then every time that you changed, you had to redo all of your API information, because the structure and the format would be, you have to send, you have to tailor everything over to that new system. But what I did is I would just make a duplicate of what I had, and leave that in place. So then in the future, if that problem resolves, we can still use what I have, so it doesn't go to waste. We can use what we have to, I said earlier, we kind of route it to what AI does what thing better. And so I mean, it was annoying, but it was also beneficial because, like I said, we got to add an additional AI system we could call, but we never ended up finding a perfect solution. Every single one of the calling AIs had some kind of big drawback to it. And we kind of just piecemealed it together and got it as best as we could. But I'm really looking forward to improvements down the road.
Okay. So AI is making a huge waves in a lot of industry. But what is the potential in AI, like in IT infrastructure management? Do you foresee a future where AI autonomously manage entire IT system, or do you think like a human oversight will always be a necessary job?
Yeah, so it already is integrated into many. At least I know. So in an MSP, like my company, there's a platform, software platform called RMM is, excuse me, the acronym for it, and it's like remote management method or something. I don't remember. There's hundreds of acronyms. But anyways, it's already been in a lot of these, and it's just integrating into more of them, and they're just getting better and better. And I found just by working with the one I use that it just gives more options, more insights, and faster solutions, really. And to answer the second part of the question, I think AI will replace 99% of the jobs on the entire planet. It's not just
In
localized to
like
tech
how
things.
many years?
Oh, I'd say, what year are we even in? I would. I already thought it would have already been steamrolling by now. Honestly, I'm surprised. I thought last year we would have seen a huge change, but it's slowly being adopted, which was surprising to me. I would say by 2030, I would hope at the very latest, just because the rate of advancement. I mean, this thing is doubling every. I think I was watching something earlier today, and they were saying by the end of this year, it'll already double twice or something like that, something along those lines. I can't remember exactly. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just fascinating. I definitely say definitely before 2030, I would say. And if not, then there was probably some crazy war or some shit that, ruined it. Excuse the language. But yeah, I'd say 99% of the jobs will be replaced. And even, I don't even think there will be human oversight unless it's like ultra critical. Like, I don't know if I want my nuclear missiles being managed by the AI, right? Like, some kind of high level stuff. But other than that, I think it's going to be in everything.
Okay. So like as AI continues to evolve, especially in cybersecurity, do you think it will improve security measures, or will it create a new venture abilities? How do you envision AI being used to be a strengthen or a possible security?
Yeah, so there's it's already in play right now. There's there's a company, I'm sure you've heard of it, BlackBerry. They make I think they had a flip phone or something for their first thing. But BlackBerry owns this antivirus, and it's called Cylance. And I learned about Cylance about 10 years, no, probably 8 years ago. I don't know, 6 to 8 years ago. And this thing was built from the ground up off of AI, and it is incredible. When you deploy this thing, it actively in real time is doing intrusion detection, and if it detects anything out of the ordinary, which is usually going to be another AI coming in, right, to try to infiltrate you, it actually starts building false pathways immediately. Like and then it buys time for the humans, alerts the SOC, right? So what's also cool is it comes with a SOC monitoring. So you have a whole network operations center of nerds sitting there, monitoring to make sure everything's on the up and up. And I've had in the 8 years or so that I've used it in my company, I've had it actually stop four different ransomware attacks,
Yeah.
different ransomwares, different clients. I didn't even know that was possible until I saw this thing do that, and I was like, "Holy cow, this is incredible!" Because usually in ransomware, if it gets that far, you're screwed. It's like, well, you don't have a way. You're toast. But it stopped it four times. It was phenomenal. So, like I said, it's already there, and I just think it's going to get better and better and better. Now, you're going to have bad actors that are going to be trying to do the hacking in, but then you're going to have the good. So it goes both ways. There's always going to be bad guys, but there's always going to be good guys doing good things also, to counter it. So,
All right. So
yeah.
when implementing AI into a crucial systems and securities and ethics are huge concerns. So what steps should IT professionals take to ensure the systems they are putting in place are not only effective but also secure and ethical?
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to come down to if you or your company is going to want to build one, yourself. because if you build one yourself, you at least know everything that's going into it, right? You're like, you know
Right.
exactly how it's going to approach this decision, how it's going to approach that decision. And then if you don't want to do that, maybe it's too expensive, which is completely understandable, especially all the like craziness right now. Then what you do is you'd want to research which one aligns with the values that you want, and then deep dive into it to make sure that it represents what you're looking for. Because there's, like I spoke on earlier, each AI is going to give you a different response if you give it the same prompt. So that's my best answer to that.
Okay, so let's come to the point where you have worked on a lot of tech systems. But I have to ask you that what's the most outrageous tech problem you have ever had to solve? Something so wild you thought, uh, is this even a real life?
Yeah, there was in Colorado again. There was I got called to this warehouse that did logistics, and I think like their Wi-Fi or something wasn't working, and they called me in there, and I showed up on site, and I did a site survey, and I looked at it, and it took me at least probably an hour to hunt down all of the daisy chained network switches throughout the entire building. It was a freaking nightmare. I want to say that it ended up being like 78 or something different switches, all daisy chained together, and it was just a freaking nightmare. Most of them were just like completely outdated. They weren't getting updates. And it was just causing feedback loops, and just it was just a nightmare. And that's why their whole network wasn't working. So I mean that was probably the craziest, because I never thought I would see a business be that bad. I could see it like somebody's house, of them not knowing what they're doing, but a company, that was shocking to me. But yeah, that was the craziest one I could think of, where it's like, is this really happening? Like, what?
So sometimes we take on projects that end up being way more complicated than expected. Was there a project you worked on that turned into a beast you never saw coming? What was the experience like?
Yeah, I mean that I'm just gonna go back to the AI calling one. I mean, that seriously was the one of the most complicated, because like maybe like I mentioned earlier, just because I had to redo everything, what, and that's just one. It's like it's defeating, because it's like, oh my gosh, I just wasted all this time doing this, and now I have to like retool it all, all over again, and that's super frustrating. But you can see the light at the end of the tunnel, right? And you're like, okay, I'll just do it. But then it happens again and again and again, and that's just like, oh my gosh. So I would say that was probably the one that I did not expect it to be as complicated. And then also, there was some there were some limitations with Go High Level, and I think I had to use make.com a couple times for a couple of things. And it's like I was just always getting thrown curveballs that I didn't, anticipate. So I would
Right.
say that, but that was probably the most, that was probably it. But pushed through and got it to work. So
All right. So let's move forward with the AI is already transforming a marketing and outreach method. So what's your take on this? Do you think AI will eventually replace humans in this role, or will it just complement human efforts?
no, I think it'll completely replace humans, because as we kind of spoke on it earlier too, like there's no emotions. The robot doesn't have emotions, right? So it's not going to care what the person under the phone says. It's not going to care, if it treats them like crap. It's not going
Right.
to care. It doesn't have a history of also of prior calls to this person, if it's the same person repeated, right? It's just not going to care. And I think that one element alone is huge, because you just take the human emotion out of the equation, and you're going to get, now obviously you're going to still have human emotion in terms of like of the AI being empathetic and blah 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 blah, right? But that's just programming, like you're just talking. It's not going to have all the baggage that a human's going to bring, is the best way to put it.
All right. So
And I think it'll just do a better job.
All right. So if businesses want to integrate AI into their outreach system, where should they start, and what's the first step that can make the bigger impact?
Well, I mean, if you don't have a CRM, I would say that's your first step because you really do need that. I mean, this is for outreach systems. So yeah, if you want to integrate AI into your sales and marketing, you could do market. I mean, it's literally sales, marketing, anything client customer facing. I would highly recommend Go High Level. Out of everything I've tried throughout the years, it's definitely the best. I know our company has an agency on there. So if you ever do want to go down that road, just reach out to us and we can create you a tenant on there and we would have be able to help you as well, through it. So that's what I would recommend is starting with your CRM and then going from there because especially Go High Level, you have so many options and it's so powerful. Combine so many things together, you can just really do a lot with it. It's really great. It's really good.
All right. So looking looking ahead looking ahead to the next 5 years, do you think AI-powered cold calling will be as effective or even better than human salespeople? What's the future on AI in the sales?
Yeah, I mean, it's very similar to the previous question, or the question a little while ago. I think it's the same answer really for this one, and then really the only other difference, what's the future of sales, is I would say it's just going to be faster. I think like once the AI can help you really drill down on the best approach for that's going to have the best outcome and the best response, it's just going to yield better outcomes. And I mean, there was a fascinating, this is on a tangent, but there's a fascinating idea that I watched on some show or something. I don't remember exactly where it was, but they were talking about a dating app, like, dating other people. And it was talking about how this dating app would create an AI profile of you, like an AI clone. And then it would go around dating other AIs and then it would come back to you with the results of like, hey, you click the most, with this other AI. You should talk to this person. That is awesome. That is seriously kick ass, and I would love to see that because then you don't have to go through it yourself, right? You just get the results. So I'm thinking it's the same approach, but with sales, there might even come to a point where each individual or each company is going to have an AI, and it's going to go out and interface, with people's avatars and do the same damn thing. It's
Right.
it's a genius idea. It really is. But I mean, I would love that and everything, especially even for my company to be able to sell directly without all the BS and time and money, and it's just so much easier if you can just go direct, that way. So yeah,
So,
I'm really looking forward to the future in that regard.
like beyond IT, we have talked a lot about using AI to streamline business operations. What do you think are the most impactful ways AI can help improve efficiency day to day in the company?
I mean, in its current iteration, I would say it can help you the most with organization and task slash project management. That's probably the best ways you're going to implement it in um, the average business. I think that would be probably the most impactful place. And then outside of that, you could use the CRM tools and whatnot and go that route. But it really it's going to kind of depend on what your company is needing. What I wish you could do, as far as I'm aware, you can't do this yet, which is infuriating. There's all these different AI platforms of which you've seen, even Copilot, but you can't give it access to like a folder on your OneDrive. They want you to upload every single item individually outside of like your OneDrive or your Google Drive or whatever. And it's like I don't want to do that. I have like for my business, I have thousands and thousands of documents. I want the AI to go in and analyze the documents, right, and give me summaries. Like that's what I want to use it for, but I can't find a way to do it because they all want you. I'm not going to re-upload thousands of files to another system. There's no way in hell. That's just insane. So I'm just waiting for the ability to be able to do that, and I'm sure there's a way. I just haven't found it yet. And I think you might be able to if you pay the Copilot premium one or whatever. That's it's $200 a month or whatever they're charging, which is not worth it in my opinion. But I'm looking forward to being able to do that. I think it'd be really helpful.
All right. So Do you see AI distributing traditional business models altogether, or is it more about optimizing what already exists?
Yeah, so on this one, I'd say it's kind of both. I'd say in the short term, it's going to be about optimizing, and then and the long term, it's going to be about completely disrupting it. I mean, it's already going to be disruptive, but I think short term, like yeah, like I said, it's just all about making everything better than you have, and then it'll buy you not buy you time, but it'll give you time to look into a long term of something different. So I think as AI gets better too, we're gonna have more options. So that's my take on it.
Okay, so cool. So, what's the most surprising lessons you have learned from integrating AI into your systems, whether it's success or a failure? What's something that made you rethink how AI can be used?
Well, the most surprising, I think, for me, from making that calling system was the different limitations. I wasn't, I didn't really know what to expect, because it was it's relatively new, in terms of that fee in that industry. And yeah, like the cost too, like the API costs, like there was just a lot of parts that I didn't like fully factor in, or look, I guess know everything about. And so I guess those two of the biggest things that stand out to me is the cost and limitations of the systems. And I mean, as in thinking of how AI can be used, I'm constantly thinking of different ways that it can be used. I can't give you a specific, but yeah, I'm just always thinking of different ways we could utilize it. But I can't, off the top of my head, I can't give you any.
Okay, so from your perplexity, what's the biggest trend in a tech that most people aren't paying enough attention to right now? What do you think will explode in the next few years?
So that's a great question. I think the biggest tech trend that's flying under the radar is going to be decentralized AI infrastructure. I definitely think where we're going to be able to get a privacy focused distributed systems or systems, yeah, that are going to be able to run powerful models without relying on any of the big tech centralization cloud data. By harnessing federated, yeah, learning blockchains and edge computers, are going to be able to pretty much actually all of those are set to explode in the next few years, really. And yeah, I mean, healthcare, smart cities. There's so many different ways we can go to deploy it. But I really think that that's going to be the big game changer that no one's really. Yeah, not many people are really thinking about it, but I think that's going to be a game changer. Really, I would definitely keep an eye on that, and I would hopefully we can see it deployed this year. That would be amazing.
Okay, cool. So, is there a specific innovation or a tech breakthrough that exists you the most? Something you think will revolutionize the IT or AI landscape?
So for me, I mean, AGI is probably the easiest answer.
Right.
That's going to be a game changer for everything. But outside of that, I'm really interested in the game design aspects, really, because I really like gaming is one of my favorite hobbies, and I mean, I've loved it since I was a kid, and I like to make games too. And one of the hurdles that I've found through the years in making video games is really kind of like the art and the models and stuff, because if you want to try to use free assets, right, you're never going to find a cohesive blend ever. And then other than that, you have to pay for it. Well, if you don't want to spend a bunch of money, those are, that's kind of your options. So I'm really looking forward to, AI generators that can take a prompt, turn that prompt, which this already exists. You can do it right now. It's really cool. Take a prompt, turn it into an image, which then animates that image and then import it right into, Unreal or Unity. And that's freaking amazing. That's That's huge. That I think that will revolutionize at least the gaming sector, because once that it becomes like mainstream, anyone can just create a game. That's awesome. So really looking forward to that.
All right. So, with your experience in both traditional IT and now AI, what advice would you give to young professionals or a student wanting to break into AI or IT? What skills should they focus on developing?
Okay, well, at least here in America, I don't know about other places. The entire IT industry here is built on and revolves around certifications and experience. So I would say if you want to get into either of these fields, I would say do not go to college, at least in the United States. It's just going to waste your time. It's going to waste your money. You're gonna it's going to spend a lot of your time, and certifications and experience are always going to trump education from a college that is bloated with other crap that you have to learn. And they're always 10 to 20 years behind the technical curve. You're never going to be at a college that's going to have current technology. You're just never going to learn it at a college. It's never going to happen. Your best bet is going to be certifications, and experience. Like I said, those two, I wish I would have known this before I went to, before I wasted 4 years of my life going to school, because I absolutely hated it. I hate college. I don't like school in general. You have to learn all these extra things that don't matter. It's just, oh, it drives me insane. So that was my best advice. Skip all that crap, get specialized in what you want to do and drill in that direction. That is 100% the best way to do it.
All right, so if you could integrate AI into any non-tech industry, let's say something completely unexpected, what would it be and why?
Okay, yeah, this is really cool. So for me, it would be that decentralized AI that we talked about earlier. I would want my own copy of that, but I'd want to be able to look at the source code. I want to make sure, without it, scrub through this entire thing and make sure that there's no bias or BS or just anything that I don't agree with. Right? Scrub that part down, and then make sure that it's closed off. It cannot be hacked, because that's always a concern. Hacking. Right, and I want this thing to be able to interface with me directly, but not through like an intrusive surgery. Right, I want to be able to like maybe put on a glove or a patch or something, right, like on my arm or whatever. Wherever it is, like a device up, like in the Black Mirror episodes, they keep putting them up here in the synapses. um, and I want that thing to be able to work with me, and especially if it can. I just think about all in my own life, like how awesome that would be to be able to recall any memory. Like if I could go back and have it help me do memories from past events. I know that would help me beyond measure, especially with my past and my own demons and trauma and crap. It would be awesome to be able to help that. And then also, I would like it as like a manager help, like in my company. I do a lot. I have to wear many hats. It would be very helpful to have something that could see what I'm seeing, and thinking what, and being able to interpret, and then help me. And that would be incredible. I mean, think about how life would be different.
Right,
But see, the thing that scares me about that though is the fact of it being hacked. Because if that gets hacked, it's like game over.
right.
So that's what terrifies me about that. But besides the fear part, I think the potential and the utility is just incredible. I would love that. I'd kill for that, to be honest.
All right, so looking ahead, what's next for you? What exciting projects do you have in the works, and how do you see your career evolving in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm just like kind of keeping up with trends, and I'm just kind of watching the world go slower than I originally thought. But I mean, I think in the next 5 years, it's going to be a completely different planet. I don't think it's going to be the same at all. We're either going to have blown ourselves all up, or we're going to, we're going to be evolved heavily through the technology. And I'm not talking like merging with technology or any of that stuff, like the technology, whatever, I can't remember the name of that, but yeah. And I also, for me personally, I want to get more into game design, and I'm really looking forward to being able to, approach that.
Okay. So finally, any party wisdom for those who are looking to bridge the gap between IT and AI in their careers?
Yeah, really just take the time to learn. I mean, learn and apply the knowledge. And for me, I mean, it's going to be on your learning style. My learning style is I'm hands on. I need to be able to do the thing, right? You can show me and I can hear about it, but if you want me to learn it, I need to actually do the thing. And I'm all about trial and error, and I need to play with it, right? That's just how I am. But there's lots of different people that learn different ways. Figure out how you learn the best and go for it. There's tons of free knowledge out there, and including using AI. You can even use AI to help you, to learn and apply any knowledge you want. So that's what I would recommend.
All right, Jason. So that was an absolutely masterclass from decades of IT experience to building next generation AI tools. Your journey is both inspiring and incredible practical for anyone navigating the evolving tech world. Thank you so much for sharing your insights, your stories, and the real behind the screen of what it takes to innovate and to intersection of IT and AI. To everyone listening, if this episode sparked a new idea, gave you some clarity, or just got you hyped about where tech is headed, make sure to share it, leave a review, and hit the follow button. This is the Piyush Pawar Show, and we will be keep bringing your conversations with the people who are not just talking about the future, but they are building it. Catch you in the next one. All right, Jason. So yeah, let's see where does it goes.